Good Monday morning, and thank you for joining us here on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get to your headlines. Happening right now, the entire state of Minnesota is under an air quality alert. It's not bad right now, but officials say wildfire smoke from Canada is expected to push into our area today. They expect the air in the red areas will be unhealthy for everyone. For the lower half of the state, including the Twin Cities, the air is expected to be unhealthy for sensitive groups. The air quality alert is set to expire tomorrow morning at 9. New video just in this morning showing powerful winds ripping the roof clean off of a prison in Nebraska. Take a look at that. So this angle here is not the best quality, but you can see the extensive damage happening instantly. The Nebraska Department of Corrections says it happened at the state penitentiary in Lincoln. You can see an even better view here, and that almost 400 prisoners are now displaced. Right now, southeast Wisconsin is under flood watches and warnings after a weekend of torrential rain. Take a look at this scene from the highway outside of American Family Field in Milwaukee. Cars abandoned there in flooding.
We pulled dozens of people out of cars and off of cars trapped in the middle of floodwaters. This floodwater, it may look like it's not moving real much right here, but that can really have a strong current.
Several events were also forced to shut down, including the Wisconsin State Fair. You can see cars parked at the fairgrounds on Saturday night submerged in water. The rain forcing organizers to cancel the last day. They are offering vouchers for next year's fair for anyone who had tickets. Right now, the FBI is investigating a ransomware attack in St. Paul, locking up city services for more than 2 weeks. The city is starting a new push to get back online. Michelle Beck is in St. Paul with the new details for next steps.
Well, hey there, the goal is to get 3,500 St. Paul City employees in and out of the Roy Wilkins Auditorium with some brand new passwords. And just this morning, I reached out to the mayor's office to see if we can go inside the auditorium to see if we can see that password reset process for ourselves. I was told no, because that would be a security risk. That all goes to show security is truly top of mind right now. So expect around 80 people per every half hour, according to St. Paul City officials, and brand new video to show you this morning. They say it's about getting credentials verified and reset, plus making sure machines are safe and secure. We now know that cyber attack the city suffered more than 2 weeks ago was a ransomware attack. While hackers demanded payment, the mayor says the city did not pay any money. Officials also say they successfully backed up all of their data and are testing servers.
After our reset, we're going to start reopening. Our systems are sitting there ready for us to start opening. This is going to be a very slow and cautious reopening to make sure that we are taking every single step to ensure the safety and security of our data.
Yeah, I just checked, and even at this hour, the city website says online payment portals are down. Public places like the library, they're also open. However, the Wi-Fi is down there as well. Back to you.
Michelle, thank you very much. This morning, a bouncer is now facing 2 counts of second-degree murder for allegedly shooting and killing a 29-year-old outside of the Midway Saloon in St. Paul. According to the criminal complaint, the bar manager told investigators Devarius Clark was arguing with the victim over whether he could take his bike in the bar. Surveillance footage shows the victim spit on Clark twice. Clark also told investigators the victim called him a racial slur. The bar owner says he wasn't aware Clark was carrying a gun. Police did say he had a valid permit out of Hennepin County. This afternoon, the man convicted of killing North High School student Deshaun Hill will be back in court for a hearing. Cody Forncam is being tried again after his conviction was overturned because he gave statements to police while illegally detained. That trial is set for November 3rd. We're live from the White House this morning, where this morning President Trump is expected to hold a press conference on crime in Washington, D.C., and we could learn if he will deploy up to 1,000 National Guard troops to the nation's capital. According to the Washington Post, around 120 FBI agents are currently patrolling the streets in D.C. President Trump says the city has issues with crime, cleanliness, and homelessness. D.C.'s Mayor Muriel Bowser, meanwhile, says violent crime there is at its lowest in 3 decades. Now, President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin later this week in Alaska in an effort to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump suggested that a peace deal would include swapping territory, but Ukraine's leader says his country will not cede any land. And there are new questions now over whether he'll join the meeting as well. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. President Trump made it a key campaign promise to swiftly end the war in Ukraine. And as that has proven difficult, his public frustration with Russia's leader has grown, all setting the backdrop to this week's critical meeting. Preparations are underway for high-stakes talks at the end of the week aimed at ending Russia's war on Ukraine. President Trump set to meet Friday with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, with the potential for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to join.
The only way to make peace is to sit down and talk.
Vice President J.D. Vance met in England over the weekend with top Ukrainian officials and European allies, talking through Ukraine's peace proposals. As Russia keeps up its punishing attacks, President Zelensky has said Ukraine will not give up its land to occupiers, something President Trump said may be necessary.
There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
White House Special Envoy Keith Kellogg heads to Ukraine today to continue talks. As a senior U.S. official tells NBC News, the White House is considering inviting President Zelensky to the Alaska meeting, though Russia's leader has said Ukraine was far from meeting its conditions for face-to-face talks. Democrats pressing for a Ukrainian presence and criticizing the location.
Putin is a war criminal. This is not a show of strength to allow him to fly into the United States.
Republicans pushing back, while some are calling for more protections for Ukraine.
Security guarantees to Ukraine to prevent Russia from doing this again.
President Trump heads into the meeting having sharply shifted his tone toward more vocal criticism of President Putin and threats of added sanctions, increasingly frustrated as the Russian assault drags on. The leaders of several European nations reaffirmed they're, quote, committed to the principle that international borders must not be changed by force. As the NATO Secretary General said, any territory Ukraine may concede must not be legally recognized as part of Russia under international law. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Developing this morning, terrifying moments on a cruise ship when a glass water slide shattered, injuring one person. Take a look at this new video shot on the Royal Caribbean Icon of the Seas. You can see water gushing out of a large hole in the slide as passengers there scream and beg for the ride to stop. Royal Caribbean says an adult guest was hurt as they were sliding down. The slide was closed for the rest of the trip, which returned to Miami on Saturday. That ship is currently on another 7-day cruise. They haven't said if the slide has been fixed. I sure hope so. The Minnesota Renaissance Festival kicks off in just 5 days, and right now the festival and its vendors still working to rebuild after a lightning strike sparked a fire in April that destroyed 6 buildings. Organizers say the area will look different, but that it's fitting for the Renaissance era.
One of the things that we try to remember at the Renaissance Festival is the Renaissance is all about renewal, about change. That's what the time was. Everything was changing. And we can't expect our festival to stay the same year to year.
The Renaissance Festival kicks off August 16th and runs every weekend through September. Some good news about that cup of Morning Joe. The Clean Label Project says most coffee is free of contaminants like heavy metals and pesticides. The nonprofit tested 45 different brands of caffeinated coffees. They found some contaminants in them, but at very minimal levels. Their conclusion is that most coffee is clean, calling it one of the cleanest product categories ever tested. Everyone's making beautiful music out there. That's the sound of a world record being broken right here in Minnesota. In the last 24 hours, Canterbury Park set a record for the world's largest call to the post. Canterbury says around 120 musicians took part, playing everything from trumpets and trombones to harmonicas and recorders. Anyone without an instrument was given a kazoo to play. Stay with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.